am 45 years old. 5 months ago, the oncologist sat across from me in a sterile room that smelled of antiseptic and stale coffee, and said the words no one ever expects to hear directed at them. Stage 4, pancreatic cancer. 6 months, he estimated, if the chemotherapy responded well. It did not respond well. The tumors have spread like wildfire through my liver, my lungs, the lining of my abdomen. Pain comes in waves, now sharp, relentless, only dulled by the morphine drip that makes the world soft at the edges and leaves me drifting between memory and haze. I have perhaps 4 weeks left. Maybe 3. Maybe less. The calendar on the wall in this hospice room still shows February, but time no longer moves in neat squares for me. It slips through my fingers like sand I cannot grip. I am not writing this to inspire you with platitudes about living each day as if it were your last. I am angry, furious at the man I was, desperate to reach through these words and shake the version of you who is still healthy, still young enough to choose differently, because nobody warns you. There is no gentle prelude, no slow fade. One Tuesday, you are running on the treadmill at 6 a.m., reviewing deposition notes on your phone, convinced the promotion is just one more brutal quarter away. The next Tuesday, you're lying on a gurney, while a doctor explains how the mass pressing on your bile duct is blocking everything, how the jaundice tinting your skin yellow is a sign the end is accelerating. Everything you believed was permanent. Your ambition, your schedule, your sense of control evaporates in the time it takes to sign a DNR form. I was a corporate litigator, made partner at 38, 6-figure base, 7-figure bonuses in good years, corner office on the 42nd floor, with a view of the river that glittered like broken glass at sunset. 70-hour weeks were standard. 80 was not uncommon. I told myself it was temporary, just until I made equity partner, just until the kids were older, just until the mortgage was paid down, just until. The list of just untils stretched across 2 decades like a chain I willingly wrapped around my own neck. My wife Sarah, 43 now, still the woman who laughed at my terrible jokes when we were 22, sat beside me last week and asked if I remembered promising her Paris for our 10th anniversary. I stared at the ceiling tiles and realized I did not remember the promise at all. I only remembered the excuse I gave when the 10th anniversary arrived. Too much work. Too tight a deadline. Maybe next year. Next year became never. Our daughter Lily is 16. Last Thursday she came to the hospice after school. Backpack slung over one shoulder, eyes red from crying in the car. She took my hand that used to be strong enough to lift her onto my shoulders, and said quietly, "Dad, you were always there, but you were never really there." The sentence landed like a blade between ribs. She was right. Physically present for some birthdays, some Christmases, some soccer games, mentally absent for all of them. My mind was always 3 emails ahead, 2 depositions behind, calculating billable hours while she blew out candles or scored a goal. I traded her childhood for a title on a business card that now means nothing. 2 weeks after the diagnosis, the managing partner emailed me. Subject line, "Congratulations." The equity committee had voted unanimously. Senior partner, effective immediately. The thing I had chased since law school. The summit I had told myself would justify every missed bedtime story, every canceled vacation, every night Sarah fell asleep alone. I read the email on my phone while the nurse adjusted my IV. I felt nothing at first, then rage, hot and sudden, rising from somewhere deep in my chest. I wanted to hurl the phone across the room, but my arms were too weak. That title, that corner office upgrade, that larger salary bump, they were supposed to be the reward. Instead, they felt like receipts for a life I had already spent. I had sacrificed 2 decades for a line on LinkedIn that would be deleted the day after my funeral. I wish someone had sat me down at 25, fresh out of law school, full of hunger and certainty, and said success is the most seductive trap there is. Achievement is not a destination, it is an addiction. You hit one milestone and the brain floods with dopamine for 48 hours, maybe 72 if the bonus is large enough. Then the high fades, the goalposts move, and you need the next hit. 6 figures becomes 7, partner becomes senior partner becomes name on the door. The ladder has no top, only higher rungs that grow farther apart the higher you climb. I climbed anyway. I told myself I was building security for my family. Security became a bigger house in a better school district, then private tutors, then college funds that would never be touched because I would not live to see her graduate. I was not building security, I was building distance. Marcus was my roommate in law school. Brilliant, funny, the kind of guy who could argue both sides of any case and still make you laugh. After first year he walked away, said he did not want to spend his life in windowless conference rooms, arguing over money that belonged to other people. I called him crazy. He became a high school history teacher, $50,000 a year, maybe less after taxes. I pitied him. I felt superior every time I deposited a bonus check 3 times his annual salary. Marcus coached basketball after school, attended every one of his 2 sons' games, every recital his daughter gave on the clarinet. He and his wife took weekend drives to state parks, packed picnics, came home smelling of pine and campfires. He learned guitar at 38, played open mics at local bars, laughed when he missed notes. He volunteered at a food pantry every Sunday morning. He read novels, actual novels, not just case law. He lived. Last month, Marcus drove 4 hours to sit beside my bed. He did not lecture me. He simply held my hand for a long time, then said, "I always thought you were the one who made it, Dan. Turns out I was wrong." Looking at him, healthy, present, eyes still bright at 47, I understood. He was the successful one, not because of money or titles, because he had been alive for every day of his life. The second truth that haunts me is simpler and more brutal. The perfect time never arrives. Never. I spent 20 years postponing life for a mythical when. When the caseload lightens. When I make partner. When Lily is in college. When the mortgage is paid. When retirement finally comes. Every when was a lie I told myself to justify another year of absence. Sarah and I used to talk about Paris the way other couples talk about winning the lottery. Dreamy, half-serious plans over late-night wine. We would walk the Seine at dusk, eat croissants in bed, sit at a sidewalk cafe and watch the world pass. I promised her we would go for our 10th anniversary, then for our 15th. Then soon, work never slowed. The firm grew. My billables grew. The promises shrank until they disappeared. Now I cannot walk to the bathroom without help, let alone board a plane. I will never see the Eiffel Tower reflected in Sarah's eyes. I will never hold her hand on the Pont des Arts. The regret is not for the grand trip itself. It is for the hundreds of small Tuesdays I let slip away. The evening Sarah wanted to curl on the couch and watch a movie, and I said, "I have to prep for tomorrow." The Saturday mornings Lily begged me to make blueberry pancakes with her, and I answered, "Daddy has to finish this brief." The Sunday afternoons we could have spent driving nowhere, windows down, music loud, laughing at nothing. I chose the laptop every time. I thought time was infinite. I thought I could bank it like overtime hours. I was wrong. In hospice, I have met people who understood this decades before I did. Helen is 87. a volunteer who brings books and bad jokes to the rooms here. At 50, she lost her husband to a sudden heart attack. She told me she had spent her marriage waiting for the kids to grow up, waiting for retirement, waiting to paint again, waiting to travel. After the funeral, she sold the house, bought a small RV, and spent 15 years driving every highway in America. 50 states, hundreds of canvases. She showed me photos on her phone. Her standing on the rim of the Grand Canyon at sunrise, paintbrush in hand, laughing with strangers at a jazz festival in New Orleans, sleeping under stars in Montana. She lived more in those 15 years than I managed in 45. And the cruelest part? I had more money than Helen ever did. More vacation days accrued. More flexibility. But I waited for the perfect alignment of circumstances that never came. She stopped waiting. She lived. Now the cancer has taken almost everything. I cannot eat solid food. Everything tastes like metal or nothing at all. Walking more than 10 steps leaves me breathless and shaking. The morphine clouds my thoughts, makes days bleed into one another until I wake unsure if it is morning or midnight. Pain is constant, a low growl in my abdomen that sharpens into screams when I move wrong. And in the quiet between doses, when the room is dim and Sarah is asleep in the chair beside me, I think about 2019. Lily was 10. She had just taken the training wheels off her bike. She begged me to help her learn to balance on 2 wheels. Please, Dad, just one Saturday. I was exhausted from a 75-hour week. Depositions ran late. I told her I was too tired. Maybe next weekend. There was no next weekend for that. The bike still sits in the garage, rusting quietly beside tools I never used. I think about the spontaneous beach trip Sarah suggested that same summer. Let's just go Friday after work, back Sunday night. No plans, just sand and ocean. I said I had too much on my desk. The brief was due Monday. There would be other summers. There were not. The sand between my toes with her hand in mine is a moment I will never reclaim. These are the memories that cut deepest, not the missed promotions or lost billables, but the ordinary, unglamorous Tuesdays I traded away. Every not now, every maybe later, every I'm too busy, was a brick in the wall I built between me and the people I loved most. The wall is finished now, and I am on the wrong side of it. The hospice room is quiet most nights. Machines beep softly. Nurses move on rubber-soled shoes. Sarah sleeps in the recliner, her breathing slow and even. Lily comes after school, does homework at the foot of my bed, occasionally looks up and smiles when our eyes meet. There is no more rushing, no emails, no deadlines, just the slow, inevitable unwinding. In this silence, I hear every postponed promise echoing back. I hear Sarah's voice from years ago asking if we could take a long weekend. I hear Lily's small feet running to the garage to get her bike. I hear my own voice answering, always answering with the same excuses. The silence strips away the noise I once used to drown regret. There is nowhere left to hide. I cannot work my way out of this. I cannot bill my way through it. All that remains is the truth. I spent 20 years chasing a version of success that was never going to arrive. And in doing so, I missed the only success that matters, being present for the people who loved me without condition. Marcus understood this long ago. Helen understood it after grief forced her eyes open. I understand it now, when understanding can no longer change the outcome. The silence teaches what ambition never could. Joy is not postponed, it is chosen. Every day I chose work over presence was a day I chose future over now. The future never came. Now is all there ever was. Sarah and I talk more honestly in this room than we have in years. Last night she asked, "If you could go back, what would you change?" I told her the truth without softening it. I would change everything. I would say no to late nights at the office. I would say yes to movie nights, to spontaneous drives, to mornings spent making pancakes instead of memos. I would book the tickets to Paris the day we talked about it, instead of filing the idea away for someday. I would put the laptop down when Lily wanted to show me a drawing. I would hold Sarah's hand on the couch instead of checking email under the table. I would live instead of accumulate. But I cannot go back. The calendar does not rewind. The only thing left is this moment and the next, however few remain. Sarah cried quietly. Then she said, "I still love you, Dan. Even now." Those words landed heavier than any verdict I ever won in court. Love without achievement. Love without titles. Love for the man lying broken in a hospital bed, not the lawyer who used to command conference rooms. That is the worth I spent 20 years trying to earn elsewhere. Lily's 17th birthday is in 2 weeks. I will almost certainly not be here. I will not walk her down the aisle someday. I will not hold her children. Those future moments I worked toward retirement, grandkids finally having time, are illusions I believed in completely. They were never guaranteed. I assumed endless tomorrows. There are only a handful of todays left. In the silence between pain and medication, I list the things I will never do. Learn Italian, visit Kyoto, read War and Peace, write the novel I outlined in my head for 15 years, hike the Appalachian Trail, sail a small boat on a quiet lake. The bucket list sits on the bedside table, untouched. It is not the items themselves that hurt. It is the word someday that prefixed everyone. Someday I would have time. Someday I would start living. Someday never arrived. The greatest twist is this. The feelings I chased through achievement, security, worth, love, were available the entire time. I thought money would bring security. It only brought more things to protect. I thought partnership would prove I was enough. It only raised the bar higher. I thought approval from clients and colleagues would make me feel valued. It only made me hungrier for more approval. Last week, Lily sat beside me, held my hand and said, "I love you, Dad. Not because of anything you did, just because you're you." In that moment, I felt worthy in a way 20 years of verdicts and bonuses never achieved. I could have felt it on any ordinary Tuesday if I had closed the laptop and looked at her instead of through her. The twist is that the life I postponed was the only life there was. The grand achievements were distractions. The real wealth was in the unglamorous moments I dismissed as ordinary. Helen taught me this without knowing it. She stopped waiting after loss forced her hand. She chose presence over preparation. Marcus chose it without needing loss to push him. They both understood what I learned too late. Joy is not a reward for hard work. It is a daily decision. Postpone it, and it slips away forever. I postponed until there was nothing left to postpone. The cancer has taken my body, but the deeper theft was self-inflicted. I stole my own years, my own presence, my own chances to be the husband and father my family deserved. The twist is not that I am dying young. The twist is that I was never truly alive while I was healthy. 4 weeks remain, maybe less. Sarah is in the cafeteria getting coffee. Lily is at school, probably texting friends about weekend plans. I lie here thinking of every moment I said later. Do not wait for later. Call your parents today. Hug your children tonight. Book the trip this weekend. Learn the guitar this month. Say no to the extra project and yes to the movie on the couch. Be present. Stop waiting for permission to live. Stop believing success will deliver the feelings only presence can give. When the end comes, and it comes for everyone, you will not wish for another title, another zero in your bank account, another hour at the office. You will wish for more Tuesdays, more pancakes, more hand-holding on the couch, More ordinary, beautiful moments with the people who matter. I have almost no time left. You still do. What will you do with yours?